A chaste man has not squandered his seeds of life through impure thought. He is in his most fertile state for procreation, making him inherently more attractive to the opposite sex. A human body is always striving towards its perfect form, gathering nutrition through food, rest, and sunlight, and using this nutrition to build bone, fats, muscle, bloods, and so on. Reproductive activities are constantly draining this nutrition from the body. This is because the creation of the seed and egg requires much nutrition from the body's resources. This is perhaps why many animals only mate within certain periods, as they may not survive in a constant cycle of mating and loss of bodily resources. This is also why many organisms die soon after reproduction. These are known as semelparous organisms. Examples include Pacific salmon, certain squid species, mayflies, and some plants. When an organism searches for a potential mate, they are always looking to optimize their chances of reproductive success. As a result, we are very discriminate with our choosing of a mate. We are looking for signs of nutrition and signs of health, as they ensure the survival of offspring. It is beauty and attraction that encapsulates these markers of health and survival. Beauty signifies health, and animals recognize this innately when selecting a partner to mate with. An animal depleted of health and bodily resources often lacks the common signs of beauty. Studies suggest that attractiveness, particularly in the face, is positively correlated with markers of semen quality, inferring that one's attractiveness may be advertising the quality of their seed. Another factor is genetics. Whether the organism comes from a long line of strong, healthy individuals or from those that were weak and frail. Although this genetic factor is somewhat predetermined from birth, the nutrition factor is largely within our control, and thus even within our assigned genetics. We have the power to influence our own attractiveness. Often we say that one can see the signs of sensualism in the face. A drained face, dim eyes with dark rings, bad complexion, a lifeless expression. These are often signs of inadequate nutrition and perhaps rest. A man with an abundance of seed and resources to create seed is a man with an abundance of nutrition. A healthy and attractive-looking man that is full of life. Our body is constantly trying to reach this form, and if we provide the perfect conditions, we can get closer to its attainment. The major condition to increasing attractiveness is adequate nutrition, and as reproduction is a major drain in nutrition, limiting its activity through chaste living and semen retention is optimal for increasing our overall health markers and thus appeal towards the opposite sex. A chaste mind does not dwell in thoughts of sex, and as a result, his blood is not constantly feeding the genitals, as are the bloods of a lascivious mind that is continually aroused and stimulating the sexual centers. The body is always working to perfect its organism, and through semen retention, we create the best conditions to facilitate this. It is no wonder that on retention, many claim a strong boost in interest and attraction from the opposite sex. This is recognition of your organism's improvement. The more healthy a state your organism is in, the more potential suitors it will attract. At school, the coolest guy in the class is often fawned over the most for this very reason. Even if not yet at the age of reproduction, humans instinctively gravitate towards attractive people as they are signifying the best chances of mating success and survival. To survive and successfully procreate is what all humans are programmed towards, and a more attractive organism seems to facilitate this, as their beauty implies health and survival. A man who constantly expels his seed depletes himself of the very building blocks of life. It's no wonder he appears unattractive and unhealthy, when he repeatedly converts his nutrition into semen, only to release it in pursuit of fleeting pleasure. The next time you feel the pull of lust, the next time you get overly excited by the idea of masturbating, ask yourself if you're prepared to pay the price. You are paying with your own life substance. Do you not want to be attractive and beautiful in the eyes of your partner, of your future partner, of your friends and family? The more semen you lose, the more of your organism you dissipate away. Imagine trying to sell an orange that you had squeezed half the juice out of. Who would want to buy it when there are many better oranges on the shelf? The same goes for your organism. What woman wants a man that is depleted in life force and withered away? It is time to recover your lost resources. You can get it back, but you must fast from the sexual impulse. If you are far advanced in the practice of masturbation, then the connection between lustful thought and semen production within your body is very strong. Only the slightest sexual thought may kick your gonads into overdrive as you get hyper-aroused and begin producing semen. You need to slow this through sexual abstinence and time. As it slows, you will be less aroused and will draw less nutrition away from the body. As stated previously, this is not some out there theory, it is well established in biology as the disposable summer theory of aging. Your desire to ejaculate is also a desire to dissipate yourself into oblivion. That is because nature has placed reproduction over all else. Reproductive success comes at the cost of survival and longevity. The more you weaken your own physiology through the loss of the vital fluid, the more you weaken the mating instinct a woman is to feel towards you. A woman's visceral attraction towards a man is very much dictated by the quality of his organism. Of course, other factors will come into play, but first and foremost, it is his physiology that will light the spark or dampen the feeling. A weak man who is physiologically unsound will find it harder to attract the opposite sex. They will also find life harder in general, as society doesn't value weak men. Remember this the next time you wish to masturbate. Losing your seed is making you weaker. Written in 1900. The fact is that the weak man is an anomaly. He has, either through his own or by reason of his parents' actions, defeated the purposes of his creation, one of the chiefest of which is the procreation of his kind. His sallow cheeks, shriveled muscles, lusterless eyes, scanty breath, and all the rest of it, tell of a physique which is either incapable of or can only indifferently perform the sacred duties of a husband. Apart from that, the weak man is terribly handicapped in the struggle for existence as far as material things are concerned. The majority of the unhappy creatures muddle through life, overtaken and thrust aside by the strong, pitied by some, despised by others, a source of misery to themselves, and the cause of regret and discomfort to those with whom they are associated. A normal girl in selecting a mate insists on that in him which she possesses in a lesser degree. Strength, the strength of body, which shall protect her from physical harm, the strength of character, which shall guarantee his faithfulness and her happiness, the strength of will and purpose, which shall ensure her and her children a home, and a strength of sexual powers, which will richly gratify her maternal instincts. Now, woman's intuitions warn her that the weak man is the owner of neither one of the other of these types of strength, at least in a well-developed form, that a marriage with him would mean a marriage in name only, and that misery, disappointment, and repulsion must follow on the union as surely as night follows day. This knowledge should not be disparaging to the weak man. On the contrary, it should empower him to take steps towards remedying his affliction. The halting of this loss will initiate regeneration. The body regenerates itself when the resources are made available to do so. Rest and nutrition and fresh air are of great necessity for this to occur. All that makes a man attractive to the opposite sex, his strength, vitality, and handsome features, stem from his vital force. The degree to which these qualities are developed is closely linked to the nourishment he receives during his development and throughout his life. Don't let this valuable substance be siphoned out of your body through lustful inclinations. Protect it as if your life depended on it, because in many ways it does. The way out of this destructive vice is through moral conduct and pure thought. A pure mind is the optimal state of existence to live in. A mind uncorrupted by selfish desires, particularly those of a sexual nature. A man that feels compassion for his fellow man. When the sexual energy arises in the moral man, he can easily redirect this energy into more productive channels, and avoid the carnal thoughts that so often taint the sexual feeling with images of lust and depravity. The sexual feeling on its own, unaccompanied by lustful intention, is a very powerful force, perhaps the most powerful force available to man. It is this energy that gives rise to great ambition, to manly courage, to tireless work in the pursuit of big goals. It is also this feeling that inspires love, affection, and all the noble traits of a man. This force is, of course, present in the woman, but often exists in a much stronger state in the man. To practice semen retention is to harness this pent-up sexual energy into other areas of life. That is why so many find success when retaining their sexual energy. It has been found in studies that attractive people are generally perceived of as more moral than unattractive people. That is to say that we tend to assume attractive people as having more positive character traits than unattractive people. Perhaps this even suggests that unattractive people may often be assumed to contain more negative character traits based on their appearance. Humans seem to have an instinctual feeling that the quality of one's character is somehow tied up in their appearance. For a lot of people, this may seem as a mischaracterization or a gross stereotype. However, let's look deeper. A person who entertains immoral thoughts of lust constantly will often engage in stimulation and masturbation with high frequency, and if such excessive practices do in fact drain the system, then those excesses will be seen in the face and body. The same can be said for alcohol and drug taking too. In this way, we can see that immoral ways of thinking and engagement in immoral activity can in fact become very apparent in the face. That is not to say that all forms of unattractiveness come from immorality, just as not all smoke implies fire. But it does suggest that the root of physical degeneration or unattractiveness may often start with the immoral thought. Conversely, there is research to suggest that moral action and moral thought is associated with facial attractiveness. The study concluded, the evaluation of facial attractiveness is not only affected by the physical characteristics of the face itself, but also by moral behavior. Under conditions where association was difficult to retrieve, moral behavior continued to influence facial attractiveness, leading to more enhanced attractiveness. The link between beauty on the inside and outside has been often disregarded in modern discourse. However, the concept is not new. In fact, the ancient Greeks wrote much about beauty and virtue. The Greeks saw beauty not as just a physical trait, but as an outward expression of a person's inner moral character. It was believed that one's intellect and inner nature could shape the body and face, and that through physical form, virtue could shine outward. I believe the connection between beauty and virtue to be very real. Be very careful of the thoughts you allow into your mind. They are shaping you, perhaps to a level you may not even be aware of. You cannot hide dark or harmful thoughts. They reveal themselves in subtle ways. The best you can do is strive to be pure in both thought and conduct. Of course, the ideal is to have never strayed from that purity in the first place. But for those who have corrupted their morals, whether through sex, drugs, or crime, the best course of action is to reject those longings and return to the path of purity you were born with. Once you clear immorality from your being, you will feel it in your body. Others will see it in your face, your attractiveness. Your bright aura will flourish. You will feel closer to the Creator, closer to God, clean in thought, your soul washed from the filth of impurity.